Goodbye, Christopher Robin. This is a true story, and after hearing this story, you will know how Winnie the Pooh, a cartoon that has been a favorite of every child and adult at some point, came into existence, and who Christopher Robin was, and in what circumstances all these stories were made. The story begins during World War II in 1941 when a man named Alan Alexander Milne receives a letter from a woman. Upon seeing the letter, he becomes emotional, and a flashback starts. Now the story takes us to World War I in 1916 when Alan was part of the war. After fighting in the war, he returns to his wife. The war is over. Alan, a famous writer who writes poems and plays. Gradually, time passes, and a child is born in their house. They name the child Christopher Robin. They affectionately call him Billy Moo. Alan's wife, however, is not happy about the birth of a boy, as she wanted a girl. She used to say that there should be a girl in their house. She tells Alan that I can't love him now because when he grows up, he will also go to war, and I would not be able to wait for him just like I waited for you, without any hope. Now, I don't have the strength to bear all this again. After this, they hire a nanny for Christopher Robin, whose name is Olive. Olive loves Christopher Robin very much. Slowly time passes, and Christopher Robin turns 3. But in these 3 years, only Olive has taken care of him because his parents are busy with their parties and work, and they cannot pay attention to Christopher Robin. Alan writes plays continuously, but now he is fed up with his work, and he wants to go to an isolated place where he can write something new and good. So he moves to a countryside place in England with the entire family. This place is surrounded by jungle. Now Alan's whole family has shifted there. Even after shifting there, Alan doesn't write much now. When their entire family shifts here, Daphne gives her son Christopher Robin some toys, including teddy bear, a piglet, a tiger, and a donkey. Upon receiving these toys, Christopher Robin becomes very happy. Christopher asks his mom about the name of teddy bear, and his mom says that his name is Edward. Now he starts playing with his toys. One day, Christopher's dad was going towards the jungle, and Christopher also starts following him. When his dad sees him, he says that he should go home. Christopher says that should I go back? His dad tells him to come with me. Now, Christopher tells his dad that he has a donkey, and can he name it? His dad says that its name is Eeyore, and upon hearing this name, Christopher becomes very happy. As they proceed, Alan hears the buzzing of bees. Hearing that voice, he gets scared. Actually, the sound reminds him of the World War, and even today, those memories do not leave his mind. Christopher says that these are just bees. They have come to find their honey. After hearing this, his dad relaxes, and both of them come back home. After returning home, Alan's wife tells him that he has come here to write something, and he has not started writing anything yet. After the war, people's life has become colorless, and if you write books against the war, you will bring color to their colorless life. She says that I am going to London now. Because you're a writer who doesn't seem to show up, and if you don't write, it's difficult for you to endure. Alan asks when she will come back. She says that she will come back when you starts writing. Now, when she is going to London, Nanny says that both Christopher and I will go with you, so that we can show Zoo to Christopher. Both Christopher and Christopher's mom, Daphne and Nanny visit Zoo in London. In the zoo, they see a very big bear. Christopher asks what its name. Nanny says its name is Winnie because it is from the Winnie pack. After visiting Zoo, Nanny and Christopher return home, but his mom, Daphne, stays in London. The next day, Nanny takes 3 days off. She has to go to see her mom. Because her mom's health is very bad, and their cook is already on leave. So now, only Christopher Robin and his dad, Alan, are left at home. The next morning, when Alan is writing something, Christopher comes to him. Christopher says that I know you are writing a book about the war. It's good. If you write something for me, I will definitely read it. Alan says, will you go out with me? Christopher says, okay, and both of them go out, and while they are roaming, Christopher tells his father that when I visited Zoo, I saw a bear there whose name was Winnie. The reason his name was Winnie is that he was from Winnie pack. Soldiers killed his mom, and he comes to the zoo where everyone stares at him. After this, Alan tells his son that there are bees here. If there are bees here, there must be bears here too. Christopher says that there are no bears, so his father shows him a bear on a tree, which is Christopher's teddy bear named Edward, given to him by Christopher's mom. In fact, his dad was playing with him. Christopher says that from today, I will call it Winnie, so he names the toy Winnie. His dad starts playing with Christopher in this way, and when they have dinner, there was a lot of food on the table. His dad puts all his toys there, and Christopher enjoys doing all this because his dad is playing with him for the first time. He spends time with his son and makes many stories while playing and spending time with his son. They give the tiger a name as Tiger. The pallbearers Winnie and the donkey, they named Ian, and they keep the piglet name as Piglet. In this way, they have many stories now. Ellen calls his friend from the city, who makes many sketches of Christopher and his toys, so that he can use them in his storybook. Along with this, he also writes a poem, and he sent the poem to his wife. The name of this poem is Vespers, and it is related to Winnie the Pooh. A few days later, his wife comes back home and tells him that I have published your poem, and people really liked it. Now, Ellen begins to work even harder on the book Winnie the Pooh, and when his first book is published, he becomes famous overnight. Ellen was already a well-known writer, but after the release of this book, all his previous work is overshadowed because people love this book so much that he becomes a big celebrity overnight. Now, people want to know about his book and his stories, and when people find out that Christopher Robin is a real person, their curiosity grows. Now, people want to meet Christopher Robin, they want to know about him. A few days later, Christopher Robin's nanny also comes back home, and seeing her, Christopher Robin become very happy. Actually, her mom had passed away, so it took her a bit more time. Nanny says that I saw the poem you wrote about Christopher Robin's, I saw at my friend's house. I'm very happy that people liked this poem so much. Now that Christopher Robin has become so famous, his entire lifestyle has changed. Many letters come to him every day, he goes to parties, and people want to take photos with him. People want his autograph, but Christopher Robin doesn't like all this so much, because he only wanted to play in the jungle with his father. But now, all his playtime is over because Ellen, who is his father, is so busy in his work now that he cannot give time to Christopher Robin. He is always busy at parties or in his writing work, and this makes Christopher Robin very sad. Christopher Robin's nanny doesn't want Christopher to lead his life the way it is going. Christopher wants his life to be the way he used to play with his father in the jungle. He doesn't want to be involved in the world of interviews or glamour. But his parents cannot understand this, and for Christopher Robin, only the love of his nanny remains. A few days later, Nanny also falls in love with a man named Alfred. When Christopher learns about it, he feels very sad because he doesn't want Nanny to be with anyone else. Although Nanny loves him just like her son, Christopher Robin thinks that if she marries Alfred, she will leave him forever. He tells this to his mom and dad, saying that she is getting married because he thinks that if she marries, she will leave him forever. And when his mom and dad find out, Christopher's mom scolds Nanny. She says, "Now we understand why our son was so sad." Nanny tells Ellen that you are not doing what is good for Christopher. You are using him to sell your books. Convince him that you care for him. Christopher's mom says that she cared about him, she gave him birth. She tells Ellen that a father should be there for his son, he needs you. And Nanny leaves without saying much. Christopher is very sad about this, although leaving Christopher is not that easy for Nanny as well because she loves him a lot. But now she is helpless. After Nanny leaves, Ellen gradually realizes that he made a mistake. In fact, Christopher Robin should be playing at this age, rather than going for interviews, parties, or into the world of glamour. One day, he tells his son that from today onwards, I won't write anything about Christopher Robin, his Pooh, or anything else. Christopher Robin asks, will Winnie the Pooh be ours again? Ellen says, no, Winnie the Pooh has become a part of the world now, but I promise you that I will not write a single line about you. Now you won't have to go to tea with big people. Now you can do whatever you want. Christopher becomes very happy with this, and now his dad admits him to a boarding school. However, the kids at the boarding school make fun of Christopher Robin because of Winnie the Pooh, which bothers him a lot. Slowly, time passes, and he grows up. Now, the World War II has started, and he wants to join the army. But when he takes the test, he fails in the medical examination. This disappoints him a lot because he wanted to join the army, he wanted to do something for his country and make a name for himself. He tells his dad that he knows that you can get me through the medical because every citizen of the country has you in their hearts. This become possible because of me. Even though Ellen doesn't want to do this, he gets him enrolled in the army, and before going to war, Christopher tells his dad that the bear ruined my life. Wherever I go, people recognize me. When I was little, we used to play in the jungle, and then you wrote a book, and everything ended and changed completely. Ellen says it's not true. As I realized, I had stopped writing. That was the best day of my life, Christopher says, then you sold those books. Ellen says that you asked me to write for you. Christopher says he didn't ask to write about himself, but for himself. After this, Christopher goes to war by train. The story returns to the present, and Alan opens the letter he just received. It says that your son is missing, presumed dead. Hearing this news, he and his wife completely break down. After that, Alan goes to Christopher's nanny. When Nanny learns about it, she also bursts into tears because she still loves Christopher. One night when Alan was sitting outside his house, he saw that someone was coming towards him. Looking carefully, he sees his son, Christopher Robin, coming from there. He is alive and shakes hands with him. Alan asked his son, "Are you Billy Moole?" because he always used to call his son Billy Moole. After that, Christopher Robin's mom also comes, and she is also very happy to see her son. Tears come to her eyes. Nanny, when she finds out that Christopher Robin is alive, she comes to meet him and hugs him. Christopher tells his father that when we were in the desert and there was firing on us, a man started singing Winnie the Pooh song. When he was singing, he remembered his home. That song reminded him of his childhood. Alan says, "But I sold that song." Christopher says that after the First World War, people had lost hope, and you reminded them of what childhood is, what happiness is. This jungle was ours, before, it belonged to someone else. Alan said now they shall be our forever. Now all the complaints between these two are gone. Even after Alan stopped writing, Winnie the Pooh fame continued to grow. Alan never took a penny from Christopher Robin, who earned money from his stories. Christopher lived a happy married life and also opened a bookshop. Nanny remained an important part of his life. Christopher's toys are now kept in the New York Public Library, which is visited by 7.3 million people every year. Recently, Winnie the Pooh has been considered the best ever book for children, and with this, the true story ends here. We hope you liked this story.